sun's too big now. I guess I'll have to wait another couple of months. I guess that's okay. We used to live outside, enjoying all that world. I bought you the phone.
Thanks for coming, Marino. I figured I could use a hand covering this whole place.
No problem. How does it look in there?
Take a look for yourself.
What was TOC? Do we know?
Roughly 2 weeks ago. Some friends got worried, so they called. But of course, nobody answered or had heard from Vido in some time, so his girlfriend came to check on him. And that's when she found this.
This place is a fucking mess. Who was this kid again?
Haven't you heard about him before? He is, well, was a pretty well-known artist here in the warehouse district.
Yeah, but the only thing I know about him is that he was very open about having contracted dreamers. It's an awfully weird thing to be so open about. Maybe he was doing it for attention.
Whatever the case, we still don't know much about dreamers aside from the name, and that it kills anyone who is unfortunate enough to get it.
Right. What a name for such a terrible disease. Do you know roughly how long his girlfriend spent on site?
About 15 minutes before we got here. She's being interviewed now.
Make sure she is recorded and quarantined after. We can't be too careful, because we still don't know if this disease is airborne or not.
Already on it.
What do you gain from all of this, Detective Haines?
Honestly, I see a bunch of trash and a dead guy holding a paintbrush in his hand. That's about it. I don't know why we even have to treat this like some kind of crime scene. It's not like the dude was murdered.
We don't know that. We don't know anything yet.
Alright.
Came home late last night. Don't know why I even tried. Lost all track of
I still can't make sense of the objects they hold.
They?
They're cured, or dreamers, whatever the hell you want to call them. They are always holding something, and holding it tightly. It's almost as if you were to cut off their hands when they were still living, they would still be holding on to it.
What do you think his last painting was?
Looks like boats, but floating above water. I could be off, but I get a feeling we're about to go down a long, dark path.
didn't see no signs. Probably just another alibi.
Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope this message finds a way through all of the noise. I hope you are able to take a second and listen to what I have to say. I'm sure you realize now that I am no longer there, but this recording will be a testament to the last days of my life. I have realized a few very important things. First, life itself is very fragile, but our bodies are very resilient. I don't know of any other being who is capable of withstanding, and in some cases resisting disease much like we can. But there is a catch. We're not impervious to all. I don't mind being a dreamer. As my body ceases to function the way it has before, my mind is agile, and I have a sense of clarity. I am forced to change in ways I thought I had lost the ability to years ago. I have spent the last 15 years on my own, blocking out and even demonizing those around me or those who have gotten too close. You might be wondering why. Well, the truth is that I always wanted to meet someone who could understand who I am. For better or worse, that person is you, because you're listening, and I couldn't think of any other way to finally get these feelings out there. I'm quite removed, you see. It was not the world that did me wrong. It was the way in which we changed, how we changed the way we communicate with each other. Nobody is a stranger to the way we have been able to exploit technology to empower us to be better. But that is where the problem lies. We were all elated. We shrunk the world once more and promoted this new form of communication under the guise of better understanding for everybody. Better connections. In our quest to be better people, we slammed the door of understanding shut. We became addicted to the idea of show and tell, that everyone has something good to offer with no consequence, and we chose to ignore those who couldn't communicate properly. I was left behind, and I drowned in my feelings at the bottom of a lake with no more water. So, here we are. I give you my magnum opus. This note, which is not some kind of suicide letter, but an open letter to those who have realized just how alone they are. Hearing what you need to hear, as opposed to what you want to hear, is tough. It is imperative that we go forward, acknowledging the ones we left behind. We need to empower them just as we have done. Those people, like myself, need to know it is okay to run away. I don't think this should be taken as a guide, but these are the words I needed to hear before I made a change.
Hey, Marino. Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's the situation, Kate?
She's been cleared, and hasn't shown any signs of the disease.
That's good. Did you find out anything new?
Kate said she wanted to talk to you, and insisted she'd come with me to the station. We'll be there in 10 minutes.
What prompted her to make this decision, I wonder?
She said she remembered something Vido said the last time they were together. Something about a paintbrush.
Really now?
Yeah. Do you know what she might be talking about?
Make a quick stop at the art store on 33rd Street while you're on your way. See if she can remember what brushes he used.
What? I'm not her chaperone. Why does this matter?
It's important. Just do it. This is an order.
Raphael Paris.
What did you say?
The brushes he used were Raphael Paris.
Okay. Why is this worth stopping for? You said you had something to tell Detective Marino.
Yes, but I think he already knows what I'm getting at.
You don't think the brush had anything to do with his death, do you?
No. But I do think that maybe Marino knows how important tools of the trade are to an artist. And especially one as eccentric as Vido was.
Eccentric, huh? I can see that, just by having been at his place.
Yeah, you could say that he was very particular when it came to the way he got his ideas onto the canvas.
You saw it, didn't you? What he was holding when you found him?
The paintbrush?
Yeah, I think that's what Detective Marino has a theory on. I think he believes it means more than what it does at face value. But I'm sure we'll figure that out when we get to the station.
Haines. Kate.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you get the paintbrushes?
Yes. What did you need these for anyway?
Great. Now tell me. Who am I?
Hey, Haines? Do you have any idea what Dreamer's disease actually is?
That's a complicated question to answer. Do you want the real answer, or do you want something that will look nice on paper?
What do you mean? I want the real answer.
Well, I'm no stranger to your past. It's my job to ask the hard questions. It's especially important to take into account everything I know about you.
Don't be so harsh. You clearly have no idea.
I do know that you've got a reputation for using people for information. Am I wrong?
Unfortunately, you're not.
Do you remember the question that Marino asked when we were first at the station a month ago?
Who am I?
Yes. So tell me, how would you answer that question?
I suppose I would answer it normally. That's not the right answer, though, is it?
Correct. So let me answer that for you in the way I know best. Your name is Kate. You're a 29-year-old woman, freelance journalist currently living in Boston. You became interested in Vido because of his compelling work. It wasn't that you wanted to get to know him. You wanted to write a story.
You're not wrong. Way to make it sound like I'm a bad person.
People initially criticized your relationship because it seemed disingenuous. Yet you fell in love with him. Why?
Why does anyone fall in love?
You're partially right. What was in it for you both?
I could help tell his story. He had trouble articulating his feelings, thoughts, and ideas. I loved him. I knew I could help.
But did he want your help?
Yes. He opened his heart for me, and only me.
Thank you. Now think again about the question Detective Marino asked.
Are you saying there's more to his death than just falling ill?
We don't know yet.
What are you implying?
Nothing at all. Thank you for your time. I have to take a call in a second. I'll talk to you later on. I'm sorry, I can't tell you. But we don't think that this disease that came out of nowhere over 2 decades ago is infecting people by chance.
You're more heavy-handed than usual. What for?
Listen, I've been thinking about it, but you never gave me an answer. Of all the people who scored higher than me on the Anomalies test, why did you choose me?
You remind me of Henri Charrière,
Who?
the author of Papillon.
I'm not familiar with them.
I took you for more of a bookworm than you actually are, Haines.
I did spend a lot of time in the library at school, so don't count me out just yet.
It's an autobiography about how Henri was wrongfully convicted of murder and sent to the Devil's Island, and thus escaping to prosper in another country.
I'm not a murderer.
No, but you did make the choice to leave the orphanage when you were younger and take up a life elsewhere, did you not?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't get it right the first time.
Nobody ever does. That's why I chose you. Believe it or not, you have grown quite a bit since we first met. Those experiences are what make you a great detective. Even if you did choose to leave your life in neuroscience behind.
I'd like to think I made the right choice leaving. Thank you.
Now, what have you figured out by looking further into the coroner's reports?
The material Vito's body turned into is identical to the plastic we have in our water bottles.
Is that so?
Yes, we know it officially as polyregar scleroderma. but the media calls it dreamer's disease.
Glad we're on the same page. Now that we know for sure, let's look for similarities between Vido's case and the other 5 reported cases. Get me images of Vido's paintings as well.
Already on it.
And Haines,
Yeah?
be careful.
Hey, you must be the guy who found me.
It looks that way. How are you here right now? You're supposed to be a dead man.
It looks that way to you, at least. You referenced Papillon earlier, but I think you're wrong. Haines is more like Keo in Andre Malraux's book, Man's Fate.
I see the similarities. However, you're omitting the fact that one goes on to live and prosper, and the other takes their own life. Besides, I have trouble trusting a man that is so quick to fit the existentialist mold to a man he does not know.
Rightfully so.
That being said, you still have yet to tell me how and why you're here.
The how isn't important.
Why then?
When was the last time you went to your mother's grave? It's been over 5 years now.
How do you know that? Who are you, really?
I'm just the ocean that carries the message in a bottle.
If that's the case, then tell me, Vido, where do I look next?
I just told you. Let this knowledge carry you.
Mom's grave, huh? The dreamers are victims of a disease which has no cure. Not yet, at least. While working this case, I've spent a lot of time thinking about who we are and how we spend our time. For me, I find solace and peace in working to help others by answering the questions most people would never ask. In this case, when did that kid really start to feel alive? He told me in a voice recording that it was the last 2 weeks of his life. I know we can say that one starts living from the day you were born, but I think that's the wrong kind of answer. We are brought into this world with many others around us, but we are soon after expected to go forth alone. Some are capable, and others simply are not, but the ones who failed are worth lending an ear to. The more time we're without one another, the less human we become. We need each other to listen and provide a helping hand, or to sit and debate, or get angry with. It all flows together and becomes a part of what makes us who we are. These moments and feelings are truly lost when we choose to sit and watch the shadows on the cave wall alone. We become frightened too easily because we're told not to take risks anymore. We spend all our time tending to our visages that we've forgotten how to be authentic. The things that make us human are going away, and we've put our feelings in the dresser drawer. What I mean is, we're so smart that we've figured out ways to pick and choose how to feel every single day of our lives. I think Vido's sudden realization that he wanted to communicate his feelings and tell his story is what contributed to his untimely demise. I think the plastic his skin turned into is the last image of the man he was. And maybe, dreamer's disease is what we're all suffering from now. And he was the one who shed light on the cure.